You're locked into the only podcast for Maine high school basketball. The biggest names, past and present. It's Big Time Hoops, the podcast, right now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Big Time Hoops, the podcast. And I'm keeping the main thing going. We had Coach Amy Vash on recently, Blanca Milan before that, Tom Biscuit before that, Parise Rosnow back in the day. And now we got the latest and greatest Black Bear. We got Ann Simon joining us tonight. Ann, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited about this. It's not every day that I get to have a conference rookie of the year. What do they call it? Rookie, freshman of the year? What's the correct name? What'd you get?
It was rookie of the year and second team.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to debut.
And
it's not a bad
team,
it's not a bad way to come in and make a name for yourself. I was looking at the list of former Black Bears, and it's impressive. The list is short, but some really good names on there. So I'm guessing you kind of exceeded expectations, right? I'm guessing things went a little bit better than you were anticipating for a freshman year.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy with how everything went last year, but of course it was good for me that I got the chance to play a little bit more minutes. Of course, it was sad that Blanca got injured and Fanny got injured, but that's how I got the playing time. And it was good for me. I'm happy it worked out well.
Yeah, worked out really well for you. But I gotta ask you a question. I need you to be honest with me. Probably this is your first time playing in the States, right? So freshman year of American basketball. We're gonna talk about where you're from in a little bit. We'll get the whole backstory. But did you walk away from freshman year like this is it? This is what American basketball is all about? I came over here and I got awards. Like I'm doing good. It's a little bit easier than you thought?
No, actually I didn't walk out like that. It was, of course, I knew like over the summer I put a lot of work in it, and also my coaches, like they practiced with me a lot last summer, and they just got me ready for my first year in the States. And I mean, I was happy that it worked out that way, but I was never expecting it. And I also don't want to say that it was easy, because we had tough games and everything was just hard. And when we had Blanca injured and Fanny, we had a completely new team. It was just the first few games didn't work out as the way we wanted, but at the end, I think we made it to the conference finals, which was our goal. And unfortunately, we weren't able to play the game, but yeah, it worked out well for us at the end, so that's good.
Yeah. So you mentioned the individual success, maybe not what you would expect, but I'm guessing you'll take it, right? You'll take awards and the success any day, but then also the way the season ended, probably not what you expected, right? To get to a championship game and then to be like, yeah, that's it. We're going to call it. That's going to be it for this year. I'm guessing that's not how you expected your freshman year to go, right?
Yeah, no, it was a sad moment, because I think we were all excited that we made it for the final game, and we were just excited to play Stony Brook, and we just arrived there, and then it was just a sad moment when they told us we were not able to play the game, and that we can't even, that NCAA also canceled March Madness, so that was just sad moment in general. And yeah, that's not what I expected.
Not at all. And then
we just wanted to go to the March Madness again.
Yeah.
We had high expectations, and yeah, it was sad that we couldn't go.
So no championship game, COVID hits, you go home. We just talked about you went home this summer so you're out there for a little bit, but by the time this episode comes out, practice will probably have already started, but practicing starts in a couple days here. So you guys are just ready to jump back in it, I'm guessing, right? It's time to go.
Yeah, we're excited to go. I mean, we have unfinished business, and we just want to do everything we can this year, everything that's in our hands, and we're trying to make the best out of the whole situation we have right now. And hopefully we're going to play the final again this year, and then hopefully go to the March Madness this year.
Yeah. So mentioned that you went home this summer, so I want to get into that. We want to find out how you got here to Maine, because you're one of the imports. You're one of the foreign imports that we got, one of the many great ones that have come to the program in recent years, right? So a native of Luxembourg, which I just looked, is kind of sandwiched between Germany and France, right?
Exactly.
Not a very big country.
No,
let's talk about Luxembourg. What was it like growing up in Luxembourg?
So Luxembourg is a pretty small country, as you just said. It is next to Germany, Belgium, and France. There are like 600,000 people living in Luxembourg right now, so it's not really big, but I love it. It kind of reminds me of Maine, though, because everything is just so close. Everyone knows everyone, And also the weather is kind of the same. I mean, it doesn't get that cold as it gets here, but it's not a big difference. And yeah, it's kind of cool though, because we only need 20 minutes to go to Germany, or we only need 20 minutes to go to Belgium. So everything is pretty close, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah, and just from the brief research that I did, my very, very quick research, it looks like it's a combination of the cultures, right? So it's a little bit of German, a little bit of French, a little bit of Dutch. It's just kind of all mashed into this little country, right?
Yeah, so we have our own language. It's called Luxembourgish, but it's just a mix between German and French. So when we had Kira here last year and I spoke Luxembourgish, she sometimes could just understand it because some words are just the same, and it just kind of sounds like German a little bit.
Yeah. So you mentioned the close proximity to these surrounding countries and just a quick train ride to either France, Germany, Belgium. Where's the best place to go? And I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm 97% French. That's where my folks are from. Okay. So I'm hoping you say France is the cool place to go, but I'll let you pick. No pressure.
Yeah, no, France is definitely a cool place to go. They have some nice spots, but I also like to go to Germany because I haven't been to all around Germany yet, but I definitely want to go see some other cities there because they look really nice. And yeah, I'm just excited to go see some more of these cities.
Absolutely. So I'm wondering how you got into basketball, because you're in straight up football country, right? Football is huge where you're at. So like, what is the basketball culture in Luxembourg, right? Like anyway, I'm curious how you even got into it. And is it like how popular is it over there?
So yeah, as you mentioned, like the first sport that's really popular is soccer. And then we have basketball is actually the second popular sport. So when I was 4 years old, I think I started doing gymnastics. And then I like immediately realized that I don't really like individual sports. So then my cousin took me to a basketball practice, and I was 5 years old, I think. And then I just like from there, I just started liking it, and I just love being with other people around, having teammates. I love competing, and from then I just stick with basketball, and I'm still doing it.
Still doing it and still doing it well. So I read the bio, and you are on the Luxembourg national team, right? Remember, is it the senior team, like the junior team? How does it work? Because there's different levels, right, when it comes to the national team.
Yeah, but it's not, I can't compare it to like the national team here at the USA because right. As I said, we really are a small country. So it's honestly, it's hard to find good basketball players back home. But so it starts with a basketball camp where you can just practice, and then the national coaches are there from the national team, and then they just see you, and then they can call you for like another tryout that you have to make, and then they're gonna like tell you if you are in the national, if you made a cut or not. And then from there, and you basically just stay. When you start with like, I think I got into the national team when I was 14 years old, and then from there on I just stayed until now.
So you mentioned how it's such a small country that wouldn't really be fair to be put up against some of the larger countries out there in Europe. So you guys play like in a smaller country tournament, right? You guys kind of compete against countries that are more similar in size?
Yeah, so with the youth team, we still play the European Championship, which is kind of funny because from there I got to know Anna too and Dor. So I played against them with my team. And with the senior team, we actually, I think 2 years ago we started, 2 years ago we had our first European Championship with small countries, but they used to play the European qualifiers, but it didn't go that well. So that's why they decided to don't do this anymore.
So what is the progression of women's basketball in Europe been like? Because I know like for the men's game with Dream Team in 92, it kind of exploded. And then you saw this wave of male players kind of coming to the NBA, stuff like that. What has been the progression for the women's game in Europe? Like, how have you seen it change in the time you've been around? Obviously, you're still very young, but what's been the biggest difference that you've seen in the game in Europe in your short time?
So honestly, when I started, I would say we didn't have a lot of fans watching our games. And I feel like by now, though, especially 2 years ago when I played back home, when we played the final game for the championship, we had like the gym was packed, and it was really nice to play there. and I've never experienced something like that, or I've never seen something like that. So I would say that most, like, the thing that has changed probably most would be like just people coming to also watch women's game, because most of the time it's just like coming for the men's game and then they leave, like not even watching the women's game. And I feel like now it's like, especially at my club where I played back home, it was just the opposite. So most of the fans just came to watch our games, and then some of them left, but some of them also stayed for the men's game. But it was nice to see that they appreciated the women's team.
Definitely. Absolutely. So when I had Blanca on, I asked her, I was curious, like, if there's different styles of play in Europe. You know, I was trying to find out, like, what's the Spanish style of play? So I'm going to ask you the same question. What's the Luxembourg style of play? Do you guys get out and run, fast break, shoot a lot of threes? Are you physical? Like, well, how would you describe the Luxembourg style?
So our style, I would probably say it's like fast. So we mostly try to do fast breaks and score easy points rather than scoring out of I don't know, like systems. Yeah. I'd say, like, it's just, for us it's better to get like easy points because we don't have like the physicality that other countries have. So I'd say we will try to like get easy points by fast breaks.
Okay. You guys physical? Play physical ball?
At home?
Yeah.
Sometimes. But not a lot.
Only when you have to?
Yeah.
So for most of us, like, especially in the States here, like when we're growing up, we have people we look up to. They're kind of like role models. Like, I want to be like this person, you know, and we take things from their game. That's kind of how we get better. We watch people and kind of take things from them. In a country that's as small as yours, like, who was it for you? Did you watch like the international game? Did you watch the NBA growing up? Like, who were you watching that kind of influenced you and kind of served like as a role model or like an example to go off of in terms of how you wanted to play and get better?
Yeah, so when I was young, I obviously didn't really watch international basketball. So I was just like, when I had the time to go to the women's game, so I went there, and like, I didn't really have like a role model when I was young. I was just looking up to them, and hopefully I was like thinking, oh, maybe one day I will be able to play with them. But then when I got older and I started watching international basketball, I was really focusing a lot on Marine Johannes. She's from France, and she's a point guard, and I love the way she plays basketball and the way she just scores on their defenders, reads the defense. It's like, really, I love it. I just love to watch her playing.
Okay. And also, when you're growing up and you're trying to get better, a lot of times you want to compete against the best, just kind of see where you stand, right? You want to see how good you really are. And so for you, that probably meant getting out of the country and playing some of these other places in Europe. Like, when did it start to click for you? Like, okay, like, I'm not just good for being from where I'm from. You know, I may have a chance to go play either professionally or go to the States and play in college. Like, when did it start to be a possibility for you?
Yeah, so I think I'd say it started probably when I was 12, I guess, because then that's when I had to decide for which high school I want to play for, and I want to go for it. And we have like one high school at home that is like just about just about sports, like just about athletes. So they consider when you have a game and everything, they just take care of that as well. And it's not just like school. And so I went to that high school. So I had more practice than other athletes. And I also focused more on basketball. It's not like here in the US where you can just play like different kind of sports. For example, during summer you play soccer, and then in winter you play basketball. So at home it's just like, if you play one sport, you really have to stick with it. And so when I was 12, I focused more on basketball. And then I realized at some point when my coaches told me that they had some options for me in Germany. So I was talking to a coach in Germany, and I went when I was 17, I think, and I went to play there for a year. So I played in Germany for a year, and then still did my school in Luxembourg though. And then before I came to the US, I went back to Luxembourg to finish my degree, like finish my high school there. And that's why I also stayed in Luxembourg and played my last year in Luxembourg before I came to the US. And my coaches were always talking to me about going to the US because it's just like the country for basketball, I would say. It's the best country you can go for, you can go to. And yeah, so that's where I had like in my mind, okay, I really want to try this. I didn't have another option. Like USA was my plan A. I didn't have plan B. And so I just went for it.
So you mentioned earlier how the goal was to get to March Madness, and it kind of was taken away for you guys last year, and that's the goal this year to get back to March or go to March Madness. When was the first time you had heard about March Madness? Like, did you even know what that was prior to coming over here? Because I'm guessing like the NBA is probably popular over there, but college basketball probably isn't on TV over in Europe like it is here, I'm guessing, right?
No. Yeah, also, I would say I started watching college basketball like maybe 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Before that, I had no idea, and still like I kind of knew like that March Madness was like a tournament, but I wasn't really sure like how you get into it and like how it's gonna work until I came here and like I made some research, obviously.
The internet comes through. Yeah. So along with that, like when you were coming over here, like, you probably had like no idea what D1 is or like what the America East is, or even like how the tournaments work and stuff like that. So how'd you get to Maine? Like, how did that whole process work? You mentioned that you played with some of your or cross paths with some of your teammates over there in Europe. What was the actual process to come to Maine, and how'd you pick Maine?
Yeah, so it started 2017, I think. I played with my national team. We played the European Championship in Austria, and Coach Bashan actually came to this tournament, and she came there because she was watching another player who committed for UMaine, and I guess she just watched one of our games, and then after the tournament, she texted me and told me that she was at the tournament and if I was interested in coming to play in the US, and then all the process obviously started.
Whenever she reached out to you and she said, I'm the coach at the University of Maine, were you thinking like, what's Maine?
I know.
Did you have to look it up?
Yeah.
I'm guessing you have to look it up on the map.
Yeah, I actually had to, but it just reminds me of Luxembourg because no one knows where Luxembourg is. So
Yeah.
About Maine, it was also like, ooh, where's Maine? I don't really know.
So was Maine pretty much the only big time school that reached out, or was she just the first and you were just like, all right, I'll do that?
Yeah, I had some other offers too, but Maine was the only one where I like visited. And after the visit, I was pretty sure I just wanted to commit here. I didn't even want to see the other schools. I don't know why. It was just like one time. I don't know. I just fell in love when I saw the team. They were all so amazing. All the coaches were amazing. And I didn't even want to watch. I didn't even want to go see other colleges. So
Did you come visit in the summertime or wintertime?
I came winter.
And it didn't scare you away?
Yeah, no, it didn't, because I was used to the weather, and by that I don't think it was snowing, so it was only raining. So I was used to that.
See, if you would have came like a month or two later, it probably would have changed just all history.
Probably.
Would have went to one of those other schools. So, so last year would have been your freshman year. So came to campus in summer 2019?
To campus?
Yeah.
August 2019.
What was was that your first time in the States?
Yeah.
What was like the biggest culture shock for you? You mentioned kind of like the look and feel, the small town vibe type stuff kind of reminds you back home, but what was the biggest culture shock for you?
I'd say probably the food. I had to get used to like different types of food, different meals, I would say, because breakfast is like, for example, is completely different than what we're used to back home. So I'd say food.
What about the distance? Did you miss home, or were you like, yes, I'm out of there, I'm over here now? Or
yeah,
was that tough?
Of course I was missing home, but I was also just happy to finally just live my dream and just play college basketball. So I was excited, but of course I had like sad moments where I just like missed my family. But I mean, I'm okay with that. When I played in Germany, it was kind of the same. Like I got back home every week though, but I was just like, it doesn't really matter for me because I know I can't change it, and I was happy that here that I was finally here in Maine.
So you mentioned when you came to visit, you kind of fell in love with the team and the way they played and stuff like that. What was it about the team that you just kind of gravitated towards? Was it the style of play? Was it just the camaraderie, the atmosphere, the culture? What was it specifically that just kind of drew you in?
Yeah, so it was, first of all, I would say the atmosphere, because everyone is just so nice and everyone is very heartwarming and welcoming you. And yeah, when I started practicing with them, I realized immediately that everyone has like their specific role, which is like different to my country back home. So that's what I kind of like too. And also that we want to play fast break and we want to run. I like that too. And of course it was like more physical though than back home, but it was nice. Like I love the way they play here, the style.
You mentioned having like roles and coming in and having a role, and I'm guessing what people thought your role was going to be coming in changed just because of injuries and stuff like that. So coming into, what did you think your role was going to be?
I said my role would probably be like giving a starter like just some break, like just coming in for like a few minutes and probably defend, because I love to defend, but also to attack to the basket. So probably get maybe some easy points, attacking and maybe taking fouls also.
So you mentioned defense, and I want to ask you this because for whatever reason, I don't know if it's true or not, but there seems to be a stereotype: the Europeans, when they come over here, they don't know how to play defense, right? Or it's just a lot different, right? You said that you thought your role would be come in, kind of be a defensive stopper. So is that true? Is that stereotype accurate? Do Europeans not know how to play defense when they come over here, or is that just a stereotype?
I would say that's just a stereotype, because I think that Europeans even play better defense than some of the players here from the United States, just because the referee, like, they call different fouls. Like, here you really can't touch anyone. Yeah. And back home it's just allowed to, like, disturb the person with the ball and just, like, keep a hand on it. And here it's just, like, immediately a foul. That's why, me included, when I got here, I think my first couple of games I just got I had 4 or 5 fouls, like, every time, because I was just, like, touching the person every time, and I was just not used to how they were calling the fouls.
So you mentioned like physicality is a little bit different over here, right? So maybe they get you guys defensively, it's a little bit more rough over there, or you're allowed to do more in Europe than you are here. But physicality in terms of like strength is probably a little bit different over here, right? And that's something that Blanca said she had to kind of get used to. Like, she said she hated the weight room and having to get strong. How about you? Like, was being here like the first time you actually spent time in a weight room, like worked on your body to get stronger? Is that all new to you, or was that stuff you had done previously?
Yeah, so I did it previously, but also just because I went to the high school for athletes. So I was used to like the weight room, but it's different. Like, that, I think we only went like once or twice a week, and here it's just like every day pretty much. And so that's where I had like to get used to it, because also like I don't really like the weight room, but it's something that like you have to do in order to be a better basketball player.
Absolutely. So one of my goals, one of my basketball dreams that I had growing up was I wanted to be a practice player for a Division I women's basketball program, because I figured I could get probably some free gear, make some friends, play some basketball. You know, that was my goal. I didn't get a chance to do that. But you guys go up against the boys all the time, right? So you guys have a boys practice squad that comes in there and tries to rough you girls up. But from the people that I know that have been on practice squads, they always say the girls play so rough. The girls are so physical. Like, when you guys are matched up with the boys in practice, like, do you ever tell them to quit crying? Like, hey, quit crying. Like, we're not hurting you. Like, toughen up a little bit. Do you have to tell the boys to toughen up a little bit in practice?
Yeah, I mean, we don't want them to win. Let's say that. And we would do anything to just win against them. And we know they're physically stronger than us, but, I mean, we just want to show what we can. And it's not going to be like, I don't want any stereotypes to be, oh, we're going to play against women, so we're going to win, you know? And so we were just trying our best and just go as physical as we can.
Is there a specific move that you have? Like, do you have like a little elbow trick? You get cheap shots in there, or are you just playing? You're just playing like a good, strong, clean game?
Yeah, I would say I just play a good game.
All right. So we talked about the last season and just the success you had, but you guys also dealt with a lot of adversity. So I'm guessing, you were expecting to come in, kind of be a role player and also compete for a conference championship and a chance to go to the national tournament. That was probably the goal coming into it, but you guys were just riddled with injuries and things didn't really go how you guys planned. What's the maybe like the biggest adversity that you faced? What was the toughest thing you had to deal with individually? Because you weren't necessarily hurt. You weren't one of the ones who got injured, but your role was obviously probably bigger than what you expected. What's like the toughest thing you dealt with your freshman year?
Yeah, I think probably being mentally ready for it, because as we had, like, as you said, we had so many injuries, so you just had to be ready for like any moment. So I think for me it was just to be mentally ready as well, because sometimes I'm like when I like don't feel well, I might just also don't even take shots anymore and just struggle because as I don't think I can score, or right now I can help the team. So there's where I had to be like really strong and be like, like we don't have any other players. Like I have to do what I have to do, and even if I miss shots, like that's okay. Like I have to play. We don't have any other players. So that's where I was like, okay, I got to get better in that one.
What about the rigors of Division I basketball? It's a huge commitment. I mean, on top of games and practices, there's studies, what's like study halls and mandatory meetings, and you guys start in the summertime, preseason stuff when school starts, even before practice starts. It's just a lot of time, right? So what was the biggest adjustment in that regard, adjusting to just the commitment that is Division I basketball?
Yeah, so because of all that, I think I just had to improve my organization because I'm not really an organized person. So I just like to do like the stuff like last minute, but now because we all have like all the meetings and all just a lot of time, so I just had to be more organized for school and like doing my stuff earlier than I was supposed to. So yeah.
It's a learning process, right?
Yeah.
This is all new. You were a freshman, but now you're a sophomore and you're back for your second year. Probably exceeded expectations your freshman year in terms of quality play and what you were able to do. What were your goals coming into this year, and what did you work on this past summer to get better?
I worked a lot on my shot, so on my three-point shot and also on my jump shot, because right now I think my strength last year was a lot to like just attack the basket. And because I was a freshman, I guess no one really knew what they were expecting from me. But because now they know, so I tried to just like make some shots and also try to get this three-point game in my game, so that I can also shoot the threes when I don't always have to attack.
Yeah, and you mentioned now they know. Now they know. So. I talked about in the beginning the long list of impressive names of people that have gotten freshman of the year from the University of Maine. Jamie Cassidy, WNBA player. Cindy Blodgett, WNBA player. And there's some other ones in there, but I just, those are two of the big ones. But so it's an impressive list. How do you not get stagnant in your progression? Like what keeps you motivated to push through and shoot for maybe like player of the year or something like that? Like what drives you?
So I'm really a person who like works a lot on myself. So if I have a dream, I just want to fulfill it. And for example, I always dream to go play for the WNBA as well. And even if it's like it looks like nearly unrealistic, because I don't know, it's not easy to play for the WNBA, but it's one of my dreams, and I'm just got to keep working hard to actually get the chance, because later I don't want to be like, oh, what if I would have worked harder? Maybe I would play now for the WNBA or just play in EuroLeague. So I don't want to ask the question, what if?
Okay. Good answer right there. So goals are important. And as we mentioned several times, the goal for the team is America East Championship National Tournament. And because of the injuries last year, you guys, including yourself, had a lot of players that got a lot of minutes and were able to kind of speed up the development process. Now you got Blanca back. Everyone got that experience. You got a good freshman class coming in. Guys are starting practice this week. Must be ready to go. I got to ask you a question here because we had Coach Vash on earlier this week. She said that, I don't know if it was this week or last week, but upperclassmen scheduled the scrimmage of the freshmen, and the freshmen won that game. Can you confirm that? Is that true? Are you willing to go out and say that that is a true story, or was she making that up?
No, she wasn't making that up. That I confirm it. Yeah.
Okay.
Freshmen are working hard. It's crazy. It's good to see. I love it because we need these players right now because we still don't have a lot of players, and you never know if someone's gonna get injured. Maybe one of the freshmen are really they're strong enough, they can play with us. And normally it's a freshman against senior team. Oh, that's an easy win. But I'm telling you, this scrimmage, oof, that was tough.
That's good. I like that. That means you guys got some depth. You guys got some intensity, competitiveness. That's good. Mm-hmm. So you guys have been doing the preseason thing and been forced to work out with masks on. Just must be terrible, but I'm guessing conditioning must be good. You guys must be just ready to hit practice full steam ahead this week, right?
Yeah. I would say our conditioning is way better because it's really hard practicing with the mask, but now I'd say we all got used to it. But again, now when official practice starts, we're going to have 4 hours basketball. So I think there again will be a next level to actually practice 4 hours with a mask. So that's going to be hard again. But
absolutely. Before we get up out of here, I want to hit on a couple non-basketball related topics. So what's it like going to university right now during COVID in which you can't really do much? It must just be not what you pictured college life would be like right now. It just must be very antisocial, anticlimactic. Do you even go to classes, or is it all online for you?
Yeah, I have all online classes. So, I mean, we're just trying to make the best out of it. I'm just grateful that we can actually practice and that our season's going to start. So that's why I'm really excited. And I mean, even though I can't really hang out with other friends as much, we're just trying to make the best out of it. I think everyone is just going through the same. So, yeah, I got used to it right now.
And it seems like you guys are very tight-knit. It seems like you're just a tight group of people on the team. Everyone kind of gets along, hangs out on and off the court. Mm-hmm. You've been in Maine for a little bit now. What's the coolest Maine thing you've got to experience?
Maybe going to Acadia was nice.
Oh, yeah. That's nice, right?
Especially now because the leaves are turning orange and it looks nice.
Yeah. Who are the fun people to hang with off the court? Who are the most fun ones on the team?
Maeve is definitely a funny one. I also hang out a lot with Anna, just also because she was my roommate last year and we lived together this year. And I think I just get along with pretty much with everyone. There's we have the funny ones. Maeve is definitely one of them. Kelly is funny. Dor especially too. And we're getting along. I get along with everyone, so everyone is nice.
That's good. That's what you want right there. You like people. You want everyone to be happy and get along. So that's a good thing. Good for chemistry. Good for results in the court too. So yeah, I'm excited. I hope you guys have a season. I really do. I want to watch some basketball really, really bad this winter, and I'm hoping that it works out so you guys can have a season and have fans in the crowd. Real quick, I want to ask you about home games. What can you say about the Maine Black Bear home experience? What's that crowd like? What's it like playing in the Cross Insurance Center? What's that atmosphere like?
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. Every time we have that home game, I was just so excited. I love our fans. I love how they supported us. Even though last year we had up and downs, we had some not good games, they were still there every time. And I just love the atmosphere there. It's just nice to play in front of them.
Absolutely. And they're going to be out in full force. I'm telling you, if there's a season, they're going to be out in full force. And it's going to be such a great atmosphere. The team's going to be so good. It's going to be a good time to be at UMaine and watch some women's basketball. Last thing before we get up out of here, I always give my guests a chance to say whatever they want to say. If you want to say hi to mom and dad, or if there's anything you want to address, or whatever you want to say, this is your chance to say it before we get up out of here.
I would just say get registered to vote because that's really important right now. We also, as a team, we made the registration table, so every athlete at least is registered to vote. So I'd say that's really important right now. So everyone, please vote.
Absolutely. And that's the cool thing to see about the girls team is just how involved you are in the community and on campus and doing things like that and just being an active part of the community, not just being athletes. It's really good to see. So kudos to you girls and keep that stuff up. I should have asked you because when I had Blanca on, I asked her, I'm like, how bad do people actually pronunciate your name? And you mentioned that Luxembourg actually has a language. So like, is it Ann Simon? Is that it? Or am I butchering your name? Like, am I messing it up really bad?
Yeah, so it's not Ann Simon, it's Simon. But I prefer Ann Simon because especially here with like just the language, like my name wouldn't sound good.
Okay. I feel bad. Now, I should have asked before. I should have said it correctly at least.
No, that's fine.
All right, next time. I'll say it right next time. That's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Ann Simon, Ann Simon here on Big Time Hoops, the podcast. Thank you for coming through. And like I said, I hope there's a season, and we wish you and the UMaine women's team the best of luck. And anyone who's listening, if you get a chance, like go to a UMaine women's game. They are a lot of fun. It's a great environment, great basketball, just really, really high-level basketball. So go check that out. That's going to do it for this week's episode. Make sure you're checking out all the previous episodes out there, wherever you can find your podcast. And I'll see you next time with another big time episode of Big Time Hoops, the podcast. Thank you.